Welcome everybody. This video is going to walk you through some basic information that will be helpful for you as a parent to support your students' needs this school year. To start out, I'll use the term Lenny when I'm talking about our student Lenovo 11E computers. All middle school students receive the Lenovo 11E. This year they'll get it during their grade level orientations. And you should know that they are semi-ruggedized devices in that they're designed specifically for student use. We don't put a lot of software on the computer. We generally just put applications that are needed for our academic program. We also add 3 different browsers, Chrome, Internet Edge, and Firefox, so that students are able to have a backup plan if one of their browsers isn't working properly. We provide a number of different school subscriptions. The primary one is going to be Google Suite for Education. That has tools like Gmail, Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, that sort of thing. In addition, we have subscriptions to Grammarly. It's an online grammar checking tool that works right in the student's browser. Kami, think of that as digital paper. No Red Ink, which is an online grammar workbook used in English. Typing Pal for typing practice, and WeVideo, used for video production. It's often compared to iMovie, but it's completely web-based. Plus, we have a range of online tools specific to subjects and used in academic and rotation courses. Notice we have a middle school info site that we'll be referring to later. That is the home button on most of the student computers, and we use that frequently throughout our program. So when your students receive their laptop, they're going to have a very basic black bag. We don't want those confused with other classmates' bags, so we put this name tag on each one with the school's if lost return to information. Typically that's not necessary. I mean, most kids keep a good eye on their laptop, but occasionally accidents happen and somebody might walk off with another student's laptop by mistake. To prevent that from happening, we suggest that students customize the case, not the laptop, but the case, with something like duct tape or stickers, pins, that sort of thing. As long as it's appropriate for school, we're good with the bag being customized. Inside the laptop, we should have the laptop with the stylus, or inside the laptop bag, sorry about that, we should have the laptop with the stylus, the charger, and USB earbuds or headset with a microphone. That'll be especially important to support our remote instruction. Additionally, some families choose to get a mouse, a flash drive, microfiber cloths are great for cleaning, that sort of thing. The pieces that tend to be problematic are when students lose their stylus or lose their charger. So please keep an eye on those to make sure we know where those are located. So it's important for you to know that every year you'll be charged a technology fee to help cover the cost of the computer, the warranty, the software, subscription, support, and infrastructure. You should also know that we have a no-fault warranty, and that means that unless there's an obvious act of like vandalism or abuse of the laptop, that most everything is covered under the warranty, with the exception of loss and theft. For those situations, you're responsible for a $500 deductible and to notify the police and the school if that should happen. We do have a robust loaner pool, and that means that if a student's laptop needs to be turned in for some reason, within 24 hours, we do our best to get you a loaner of the same model or a similar model so that the student has very limited downtime. If the family or if the student loses the charger or the stylus, damages the bag, that sort of thing, we do have to charge you, but typically that's not an issue for most families. We collect the laptops at the end of the school year for summer refurbishment, and we also do warranty repairs at that time as well. So, how will your child use it? Expect that in all subjects, the student will be using it for Meets, they'll be using it for Google Classroom, and a variety of online resources, practice sites, and so on. In language classes, the students will do lots of audio and video recording, cultural research and projects. Language arts, of course, there'll be lots of writing. Social studies, research, projects, science for research in online labs, in-person labs, lab reports, coding and programming. And in math, there'll be things like digital interactives, spreadsheets, data manipulation, and so on. In addition, activities, extracurriculars, and rotation classes will make use of the laptops. So what about email? Each student will receive their own email account. It uses their Google username. In the case of a sixth grader, I have an example on the screen what the formatting's like. We start out with the first two digits of the student's the last two digits of the student's graduation year, first name, middle name if it's in our system, and last name. So in my case, I would be 27 Tammy LB if I were a sixth grader this year. And we have the @ symbol, students.spa.edu. We use a standard Gmail interface. We also have something called Gaggle that filters and archives communications like our email, as well as any chats and going through Google and our Google Drive content. We expect students to check their email at least twice a day, Monday through Friday. So how will my child learn how to use it? Of course, we're going to have our grade level orientation at the start of the year. We will also have many lessons integrated into academic classes, advisory, class meetings. We also do a fair amount in our computer science classes. And if students have questions beyond that, we have people at each grade level that are there for support. Your students will have a number of passwords to manage. We have a little dog on the screen just as a reminder that a password is like a toothbrush. You don't want to share it, and we don't want to share it with our dogs. Sorry, just bad middle school joke. We ask students to record their computer or network password, their school Google account password, Veracross password, and then they'll have other passwords like TypingPal and then their curriculum, websites, and subscriptions. Many of the tools that we use at school use the Google accounts to authenticate. This screen shows our contact information. We also have a website, an email address, mstech@spa.edu, that students or parents can email at any time, and this will email each of the grade level people as well as me. So if the computer breaks, it's the responsibility of the student to do the following. First, to notify their teachers if it impacts the student's ability to complete coursework or participate in class. And second, to seek appropriate support, whether it's from an adult at home, like you, or from the technology department at school. In terms of technology support, for incidental questions, students can reach out to me or that mstech@spa.edu email address. But for more serious issues or if hardware repair is needed, students should complete a tech ticket using Incident IQ. They can either log into Incident IQ with their Google account or complete an online form that's on the screen. Parents can complete that for the student as well. Once the ticket is complete, then a technician follows up with next steps. Other tools we have for support are MS Tech site, and let me click on that quickly. This is our middle school info site, and let me go up to the top. In the upper right corner, we have lots of technology resources, including distance learning help docs, and a number of other tools for students. We also have TypingPal, as I mentioned, Incident IQ, the MS Tech email, vendor support. So if you're trying to install a home printer or your home Wi-Fi, you can check with the vendors for those items. And there's a tool called Common Sense Media that I recommend all parents check out. I use that personally as a parent to find out if certain tools are appropriate for my child and to help make better, more informed decisions. So what do you do if the technology isn't working at home? You know, if you get things like pop-ups or see odd content, things that you think shouldn't be there, an antivirus scan is appropriate. Oftentimes tech issues can be resolved just with rebooting or even restarting the browser. The general troubleshooting techniques that you do on any device should work on a school computer. In addition, as I mentioned, we have our middle school tech website with the help docs. We have Incident IQ, emailing the teacher, emailing me or other people in our tech group, using your home computer if needed, or paper often works as well. But again, communications can be super important. We have a section of the middle school info site called Parent Tech Help. It'll have lots of resources specific for parents as well. I suggest that you take a minute, go to the site and bookmark it. You should also find a link in your division portal in Veracross. Our general expectations for technology use or appropriate use of technology at SPA are for students to be respectful, be ethical, be lawful, be responsible, and be safe. We will be talking about this during our orientation and advisories. Also, if you click on the link, and this presentation will be available to you as well, you'll see all of the specifics for our acceptable use policy. So if you have questions about that, please let me know. So there's always that challenge between recreational use and instructional use. Let's just keep in mind that school use or instructional use has to be the top priority. So when your students push boundaries, and they're kids, they always do, keep that in mind and let that help guide your discussion. So it's fair to expect your child to take responsibility for their behavior with technology. They should discuss the school expectations with you. They probably won't bring it up, so it's a good idea for you to take the lead on that discussion. They should also share their usernames with you, and they should share passwords. Once we get our planners, it's a good plan to write passwords in that planner as well, so we have passwords recorded in a centralized location. Students should also be expected to sit down with you and show you whatever they're doing at any time that you request. They should be able to walk through where things are located, how they navigate their device, how things are saved, and so on. If your students have questions about how to use the technology, please have them reach out to their grade level technology specialist. We also have a number of explanatory videos that'll be hosted on our MS Info site. The student should be expected to use the laptop when, where, and how you specify. That goes for when the laptop is at school, when it's at home, or elsewhere. They should also let you know when things aren't working the way they should, or when something doesn't feel right. And they should also shut down the computer and put it away when you ask them to. So what if you lose the computer? First, once you know that it's lost, please file a police report, notify the school within 24 hours, and anticipate that there's a $500 lost theft deductible toward replacement of the device. If the charger is lost, and keep in mind the chargers generally have a number on them, and it's a good idea to take a piece of masking tape, put it on the charger, and write the student's name on it. It's about $55 to $60 for replacement. If the stylus is missing, that's $45 replacement. And if the headphones or earbuds go missing, or if something happens to them, it's family's responsibility to replace. Filtering. We do have our networks filtered at school. We suggest you do the same at home if that feels like an appropriate choice. If you have questions about that, please reach out and we'll help guide you through the process. Do keep in mind we ask that parents let us know if they're installing any applications on the school-owned device, because we need to make sure that appropriate licensing is happening, and if something does happen that we have to reimage the computer, you'll want us to let you know as well. Some things to think about and discuss with your child. Where's the laptop going to live in the house? What are the designated work areas? How will your child charge it every day? Or when they're in person at school, how will they remember it? How will internet be accessed? Will it be used on wireless? Will you have it hardwired with Ethernet? That is an option on our Lennies, even though it isn't on a lot of newer computers. The Lennies do have an Ethernet port built in. What are our options for printing? When we're doing remote learning, printing won't be necessary all that often, but there might be times where it's convenient, so you'll want to have a plan for that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, filtering or not. You'll also want to think about what your ground rules for use are: schoolwork versus non-academic use, social networking, gaming, YouTube, music, etc. And as hard as it can be during distance learning, screen time limitations are worth discussing as well. So, remote learning. Our suggestions are as follows. Take some time to think about your student workspace really closely. Although some families do have their students working in their bedrooms, it might not be the best option for all families. For example, in my household, my daughters both have designated workspaces that they can use. My older daughter's a college student. Having her laptop in her bedroom has never been a problem. My younger daughter has a choice. She's a sophomore at SPA this year, and she chooses to keep her laptop in a different workspace. Having a different workspace helps students to better separate their personal time from their instructional time. So please keep that in mind. And we realize too that it's not always an option for all families. I know when we went into distance learning last year, for the first time, I had to find a workspace in my house that was separate from my family. That was really unusual for me, but it turned out to be a really good choice because now, at the end of the day, I can close the door and separate. Consider ergonomics. Things like mice are an add-on. Things like keyboards are an add-on. Those are things that you can choose to provide for your child if you so wish. Other things to consider: would your child benefit from an external monitor? Some families like those, some don't. If your child is going to be doing remote learning for the majority of the year, it might be worth an investment. You can usually get an external monitor for $100 to $150. Another thing some of our families have done is had their child connect using HDMI to a home television set so that they can have a bigger screen. Taking a break from technology is going to be super important. Please encourage your child when they're doing remote learning, or even when they're just doing homework during our regular times, to get up and take a break from technology. Go outside. If you have a pet, chase the pet in the yard. If you're able to, go for a walk, get up and move around, read a book, have a break from the screen. And if things do get to the point where they don't feel quite like you'd want them to, please reach out. We want to partner with you and support you and your family through this time. You can reach out to me for technology support. I can also explain options around filtering and such. You can also reach out to Sarah Mars, our counselor, or to Jenny Sorensen, our learning specialist. And of course, you can reach out to Ms. Andres or Mr. McGee for administrative support. If you have questions, please send me an email. Don't hesitate to email. If you email late at night, don't expect a reply until the next day. I go to bed early and I get up early. You'll see once you look at this presentation that we do have a number of slides, and I'm just going to go through them super quickly just for your reference. These slides will tell you how to add a printer at home. Notice if there are things that are clickable, there's either a video or a Google Doc attached. Connecting to the internet at home, logging in on another device with a school account, accessing Veracross, subscribing to student calendars in Veracross so you know what your student schedule is. I found that really helpful when I'm scheduling things like an orthodontist or an eye doctor appointment. And this video will walk you through the parent side of Google Classroom, or more accurately, the Guardian Summary information. Guardian Summary information for Google Classroom will be sent out in coming weeks. So if you have questions, again, please reach out, let me know. I'm happy to help and be of support. Thank you, and welcome back for the 2020-2021 school year.